Away, guys, welcome to Up to Daily, where we keep up with what the world gets up to daily. My name is Chad, and you've all seen it. I've seen it. We've all heard about it. It's all over the news. Elon versus Donald Trump. But what does this mean? And what does it actually mean for you as a South African? And where do we go from here? Stay tuned as we break all of that down in this video today. But before we get started, we need to properly grasp what is actually happening between the two of these people. And I guess how we can make presumptions and at least try and forecast what happens next, or how serious this feud actually is. In order to do that, we need to understand who we're actually speaking about today. Let's elucidate.
Up to daily, smooth and fine. Sip your coffee, take your time. Up to daily, every line starts your day with a jazzy shine.
Meet Elon. Born in 1971 in South Africa, Musk grew up in a wealthy but deeply troubled home. His parents divorced when he was 9. He lived with his father, a man who would later call evil. Bullied and isolated, he described his childhood as a paramilitary Lord of the Flies. But even then, he was a prodigy. At 12, he coded and sold his first video game for $500. By 1995, Musk co-founded Zip2, sold it for $307 million and pocketed $22 million. Next came X.com, which became PayPal, sold it to eBay for $1.5 billion. He then funneled his fortune into SpaceX and Tesla, turning both from risky bets into industry dominators. At his peak, Musk's net worth hit $400 billion. But behind the genius lies a volatile trio. Extreme control from a chaotic childhood, which means he micromanages everything, even firing Twitter staff overnight. Validation seeking, rooted in childhood bullying, hence all the Mars talk, or perhaps all the AI dominance that he speaks of, and risk addiction, betting entire empires on experimental tech like the Cybertruck or the Starship rockets. And apart from all of the success that Musk has reached, there is a dark legacy where the shadows run deep. His grandfather, tied to Nazi ideology, a father who had a child with his stepdaughter, Musk himself estranged from his transgender daughter, accused of emotional abuse by exes, and increasingly aligned with far-right politics. His use of Twitter or X to spread conspiracies and feud with governments has real-world consequences. Musk's journey from bullied boy to billionaire power broker is not just personal, it's global. His pain has scaled, his platforms move markets, and as one critic puts it, he's a geopolitical chaos agent. Not my words. So, in the eyes of most of the public, he's a brilliant, broken boy now holding the world hostage. Moving on to his future friend and future foe. Meet Donald. Born in 1946 in Queens, Trump was the fourth of 5 children. His father, Fred Trump, was a millionaire real estate developer, strict, calculating, and emotionally distant. From an early age, Donald was taught to see life as a zero-sum competition. At 13, due to behavioral issues, he was sent to military school. Not to break his defiance, but to weaponize it. Despite branding himself a self-made mogul, Trump inherited $400 million, well, adjusted for inflation of course, from his father. He built his brand through glitzy real estate projects, many of them funded by debt, not profits. In the 80s and 90s, he became famous for casinos, luxury towers, and self-promotion. He filed for corporate bankruptcy 6 times, but used media, especially The Apprentice, to rebuild his image. By 2016, he was a household name with a $1 billion brand, and the presidency right in his sights. However, Trump's psychology is a cocktail of childhood conditioning and unchecked power. We have narcissism, shaped by a dad who taught that only killers succeed. Donald Trump constantly seeks praise and loyalty. We have shame aversion. He denies failures. Completely denies failures, he rewrites history, and attacks critics as weak or dishonest. Our boy has dominance obsession. From boardrooms to world stages, he needs to be the alpha. even at the cost of truth or alliances. Mix inherited wealth, a need for control, and deep emotional wounds, and you get someone who sees the world as either a threat or a conquest. Trump's rise wasn't just political, it was psychological warfare, exploiting division, inflating his image, and redefining truth itself. Donald Trump's story shows how money, power, and unresolved trauma can destabilize not just families or companies, but entire democracies. Understanding his mind isn't about politics. It's about recognizing what happens when personal damage scales into global influence. So, in the eye of most of the public, Donald Trump is a wounded ego wrapped in gold, wired for conflict. Now that we understand our subjects, let's break down what this feud means and why South Africans aren't safe from it. Fast forward to June 9th, 2025. He was the president's billionaire shadow, the architect of the government efficiency revolution. Until 96 hours ago, Elon Musk and Donald Trump were brothers in arms. Now, they're tearing America apart, tweet by tweet, threat by threat. This isn't just a feud, it's a detonation. Rewind 3 months, January 2025. Trump's second inauguration and his first executive order, creating the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, with Musk as its CEO. The mission? Slash $2 trillion in federal spending. The optics? Genius. $300 million, Musk's 2024 campaign donations to Trump got front row seats to power. But the cracks? Oh yes, they appeared much too fast. Musk's doge only cut 0.5%, not the promised 80%. And Donald Trump was not so happy, huh? You wasn't too happy, huh? You're not too happy? June 5th, just last week, the big, beautiful bill hits Congress. Donald Trump's $2.4 trillion tax cut package. Musk takes one look at the debt projections and drops the match. Disgusting abomination. Kill the bill. And Donald Trump's response from the Oval Office was, I'm very disappointed in Elon. I helped him a lot. Translation in DC, declaration of war, buddy. Musk then counterattacks, threatening to decommission. Listen, wait, I don't think you're listening. Threatening to decommission SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft. Do you know what this means? So you know how important the space race is to a lot of world leaders, right? Dragon spacecraft is America's only ride to space, and it is being held hostage in real time. On Saturday morning, Trump goes nuclear. On NBC, Trump goes and says, our relationship is over. Clearly breaking up with Elon Musk at the start of Pride Month. Gay! However, there was also some vague threats of consequences. We can suspect that it's probably code for cancelling SpaceX's $21 billion government contract. But Musk, what does he do? He goes darker. Musk then decides to weaponize the right's favorite conspiracy theory, implicating that Donald Trump is in Epstein's pedophile network. Allegedly. The post stays up for about 9 hours, deleted at dawn, damage done. The base fractures and starts crumbling at the foundation. MAGA loyalists versus Musk tech libertarians. The collateral damage was absolutely catastrophic. Tesla stock plummeted 14% in just one day. $150 billion evaporated. Retirement funds vaporized. The GOP's tax bill stalled as Musk funds primary challenges against Republicans who support it. But the pain goes global. And by global, I mean, remember Donald Trump's order slashing aid to South Africa? Punishing racists and seizures. That was Musk's narrative. Now 8 million HIV patients lose PEPFAR funding, which is 17% of South Africa's AIDS budget. People will perish because of this feud. And if Donald Trump makes good on his threat, SpaceX loses NASA, Starlink loses broadband subsidies, Neuralink's brain chips. What happens to the Neuralink brain chip manufacturing vibes? FDA approval? Gone. So in other words, Musk's empire, which is built on government contracts, currently faces extinction. And just what if Donald Trump plays the ultimate card by revoking visas? Elon Musk holds South African citizenship. Pretoria already discussed like, hey, are we gonna take this guy's citizenship away from him? Calling Elon Musk a traitor. But you know, South Africans always turning the other cheek. Our government official says we don't weaponize citizenship, which is obviously, it's honestly a good thing, but fuck that guy. But if Ramaphosa's like, nah, we're not taking this boy back, what could he do? Could he run? Maybe Singapore? Or maybe Mars. Mars is, aspirational. However, America made him. Losing all of that shit is his biggest nightmare. Yet this feud is going to leave no winners and just allemaal gebrand. Gebrand. You don't know what gebrand is? Come to South Africa, stand outside in summer. You'll be branding. But for real, where does Musk go? Does he come back to South Africa? I doubt it. I don't think he want to be here. Your third world country. There's nothing for him here. Maybe he'll start his own country. Though, judging by how he's running X, maybe not. Honestly, I'm a little worried about California. Last time rich guys fought like this, we got riots. And that, my friends, is where the world is.
Can we all get along? Can we get along?
In Los Angeles, what began as protests against immigration raids has exploded into urban warfare. Federal agents versus citizens, a president versus a governor. And last night, 2,000 National Guards surging into California streets. This is not an isolated crisis either though. From Paris to Kinshasa, did I say that right? Kinshasa, the globe is burning. We begin in Paramount, California, ground zero of America's latest explosion. Friday morning, immigration agents swarm a Home Depot in Paramount, a city where 82% of residents are Latino. Who was their target, you may ask? Day laborers. I don't know about you guys, but it feels to me like this whole AI thing, and look, AI is useful, but it's also like the other day. Now, in South Africa, we're so used to still having our cashiers, but I was going to Pick n Pay clothing, and I checked out of Pick n Pay clothing, and there was no one to check me out. I put my clothing into the little hole at the counter, but there's a bag. So you put your clothes in the bag, and you put the bag in the little hole. There's nobody to scan your shit. And as you put your bag in the hole, every item that is in that bag, regardless of how many items are within that bag, is scanned and it pitches up onto the thing, and you tap your card and Bob's your uncle, right? And that got me thinking, what if getting rid of the day laborers is part of realizing that robots are going to do the thing anyway? But that's just my thought pattern. However, the orders fulfill a White House quota of 3,000 migrant arrests per day. Within hours, 44 detainees were processed, chanting, "Set them free! Set them free!" Then, that's when the tear gas came. Federal agents were deployed. Pepper balls were used against demonstrators. Rocks were being thrown. Dumpsters are set ablaze. Mayor Base calls these attacks terrorist tactics. But the White House, they're labeling it insurrection. On Saturday, 4 p.m., the Paramount protest metastasized. Border Patrol agents in gas masks faced off against 1,000 demonstrators. AUS Marshals, their bus was attacked. Tires were slashed. Flags, buddy, were burned. And from Washington, the nuclear option. Governor Newsom called it purposefully inflammatory. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth upped the ante. If violence continues, active duty Marines will mobilize. The 1807 Insurrection Act hangs over California, a law last invoked in the 1992 Rodney King riots. Amid the rhetoric, immigrant advocates report detainees held in a dark federal room, no beds, little food or water. There's even a case where a 74-year-old journalist, Kimi Saito, struck by a rubber bullet. Doctor says she's lucky. And even though they're using less lethal rounds, these less lethal rounds to this point have killed 53 people since 2017. Calm down, it's not since the riot. Still though, that's needless to say. As California burns, the world mirrors all of its chaos. And in Mongolia, after 21 days of demonstration over corruption, the Prime Minister just resigned. This isn't just coincidence. It's contagion. Well, I guess in this fractured moment, Prophet Cat Williams said it best in his special Catpocalypse. From Los Angeles to Kailicha, to Russia, to a planet on edge. This is not just about politics. It's about people. What we destroy and what we refuse to let go of. For Up to Daily, it's me, your boy, Chad. Stay safe. Think human. Glad that you enjoyed that. On Wednesday, I'm gonna do a bit of a vlog, maybe introduce you to, I don't know. Remember, this is only my second week on YouTube. And I just want to put out content. That's all I want to do. Maybe I'll introduce you to me on Wednesday. How's about that? Let's have a conversation. Maybe suggest in the comments what I should do for Wednesday. For the next 24 hours, let me know what you would want me to do. Should I either take a jog while talking to you, or should I skateboard while talking to you? Put it in the comments below. What should I be doing tomorrow? Skateboarding or running while I speak to you and introduce you to who I am. Anyway, yeah, that's been a great video, man. Thank you for coming along. See you guys on the next video.